Welcome to Between Meetings and Motherhood. I am your host, Alexa Starks. I'm the CEO at Mothered Media and editor-in-chief at Mothered Magazine. And today we are starting a new series within the podcast called Doing Big Shit. And I have with me our first official guest on Doing Big Shit. And please help me not butcher your name for the umpteenth time. I know we went over this a week ago. It's Synne
Very good.
Linden.
You're doing so well, Alexa, honestly. Like, for an English native speaker, you're doing like freaking spectacularly. So I think that's brilliant.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, please tell everybody how to actually pronounce your name now.
Well, I mean, in Norwegian, it's Synne Linden, which has like so many weird vowel pronunciations, you know, because we do, like, my name has a very distinctive E, which is the Y, and a very distinctive E, which is the E, and then I've got the little accent in my last name, which is Linden, which is a Swedish thing. So it's like, it's an absolute fucking shit show for English speakers, which is why most of the time in English, I'm Synne Linden, because it's just...
But it's Synne.
Synne, yeah.
Synne Linden.
Linden. Yes!
Okay, all right. We're getting there. I feel like I'm solid B plus maybe.
Oh, for sure. And A plus on effort. I mean...
Thank you. But you have been an entrepreneur for a while now. You have two beautiful kids. If you couldn't tell by the artwork in the background, these are not your drawings. These are your children's drawings. So if you could please give us a little bit of some background about what you do and kind of how you came about to your new business as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for having me and for like so intently working on pronouncing my name correctly. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, so I've been running my own show is how I usually refer to it. I know some people like to call themselves business owners. Some people like to call themselves freelancers, self-employed, whatever. I like to call it running my own show because I also feel like it's an important way of just kind of inadvertently claiming ownership, which is a whole thing. It's going to be 14 years in January, so 13 and a half years I've been running my own show. I had a very teeny tiny little employee stint, and when I say teeny tiny, I'm talking like months, not years, in that space of time. I started out working kind of in communications, writing, content writing, SEO. I then moved into storytelling, brand storytelling, because my degree is in creative and professional writing. So, you know, so there's been a lot of sort of work around communications and helping people, communicate better. But I have always very much had this big picture need for strategic, need for big moves, need to do insanely big things. Like, that's always been a thing for me. So I have had many, you know, whenever I have an idea, I'm one of those people who just instantly sees the scope that it could have. You know, it's just like a 3-second thing in my brain where I'll have an idea and, you know, my husband, you know, who has to listen to me go on and has been listening to me go on because we've been together the entire duration of this entrepreneurial journey I've been on. You know, he's like, he always says, you know, you shit out good business ideas. Like, it's actually ridiculous.
What a good phrase.
Yeah, I mean, because it just comes so naturally to me, probably because I've been running my own thing for so long. I just can see what is a good idea, what is a bad idea. I can see the positioning. And because I've worked on sort of every aspect of a business, right? And of business development and strategy and positioning and marketing and whatever. And so, but I always see it like, it goes like a zoom and I see the big picture. I see the big shit, right? But now I also see, because I have experience, I also see how much work it is to pull it off. So I can now very quickly, I used to get idea FOMO, you know, so I used to have an idea and I used to be like, oh, damn. And I was like, I need to do this. And then I had to learn to just be like, no, someone else can do that.
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of work to do that and to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
And every single piece of big shit is a lot of work.
It is. Yeah. Because you're swinging for the fences every
Yes.
time. It's not, there's nothing little. And so there's a lot more planning and strategy that has to go into it. And a lot of things are very specific around timing and, the sequence of things happening in order to achieve the big goal. So I want to start backwards for a moment because you said you'd always had the desire to do big shit. Is
Mm.
that like when you were a kid, or did that happen in your 20s or once you became a mom? When do you think that kicked in?
I want to say for as long as I can remember, because I was one of
Ooh.
those like annoying, kids in school who always overdid things on every
Mm.
single project. And always, again, it was just like this instinct of seeing how good it could be, or the
Mm-hmm.
big picture. And I've also always been that person who questions when people say something is impossible to do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So um wealth balance in the world is impossible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would then go, well, no, it's not. You just need to change legislation in
Right.
different countries, or we just need to get the entire world to believe something different, or we just need to all make different choices. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so whenever people have said, and this is from I was very young, so when adults would say, like, you can't do that, like, that's impossible, I
Mm-hmm.
would just be like, but why is it impossible? And then they would give an answer like, well, you'd have to change legislation, or you'd have to become prime minister, or you'd have to do this, that, or the other. And I'd just be like, okay, cool. So all you need to do is become prime minister. So it's not impossible,
Right.
you know, like that's not impossible. So I say that apart from sort of like spontaneously growing wings or gills, like pretty much anything is possible. It's just
Yeah.
more or less work to make it
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a mindset shift, and it's truly one of the biggest differentiators of people who are successful in their business or life or career, whatever it is, and those who give up on goals or dreams as well. And I feel like it's a skill, like a mindset skill you have
A
to
hundred
develop and
percent.
build and rewire your brain to see a problem or an obstacle and be like, oh, here's how you solve that. Here's what to do.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just a
okay, so
problem. It's just a problem. I just
it
need to
is.
solve it. So what's the solution? And I'm very much
Mm-hmm.
like, so my biggest frustration is always when I don't know what the problem is. I
Ooh.
love it. I love figuring out what a problem is because then I can tackle it, then I
Mm-hmm.
can strategize it, then I can find the solution for it. If I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what the problem is, that's when I get most frustrated because then
Yeah.
I can't solve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. So then talk to me about Tidal, because is
Yes.
Tidal part of your new direction of doing big shit?
I would say so, yeah. Although I think most people who know me would be like, no, that is just like everything Sin does. It's just big shit, or
Okay.
at least attempting to do big shit. So Tidal, well, because a few years ago, I developed off of realizing that I myself was completely dependent on inbound and referrals to
Mm-hmm.
make money in my business. I decided that I didn't want to live like that. I think I've
Mm-hmm.
always also been very much a captain your own ship kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
and I do not like it when other people get to tell me what to do or who I get to work with or how I make my money. It's part of why I have to be a business owner because I cannot have a boss. I am
Yeah.
an absolute nightmare employee unless you say these are your goals and I'm not going to talk to you now, like,
Yeah.
and you can do whatever you want. um so I just had a couple of sessions with the sales coach, and I developed what would become the empathy first sales method, which is my
Mm-hmm.
sort of proprietary sales methodology, which, as the name suggests, is empathy first. It is about service and support and placing your leads, your prospects, your clients' actual needs ahead of your own, particularly financial gains. It's very much sort of
Mm-hmm.
the anti-movement to the sales
Mm-hmm.
bro, hustle culture,
Yeah.
boss babe thing. And I ran a community called She Sells Club for a while where I taught women how to use this methodology. And then after a while, I realized that actually I want to do something bigger than teach the women that who were in this community how to sell and how to make their own money. I want to find a solution that can or come up with a solution that can very practically and tangibly contribute to balancing the global wealth scales. Because I sort of have two missions or two pieces of legacy I would like to leave behind. The one is having a
Mm-hmm.
considerable and like meaningful impact on the sales industry and
Mm-hmm.
changing the way sales are done. And then the other is more money in the hands of all women everywhere.
Yep. It's
And
a good
so,
one.
yeah, yeah, it's a pretty good one. And so Tidal is the solution that enables that mission.
Mm-hmm.
It is a matchmaking agency that any business owner or business development exec on the planet can use when they need help with something. You know, if they need a designer or they need a coach or they need a copywriter or they need a whatever, and they don't want to go through the excruciating process it is to find that right match that it is today. Because right now that's a very lonely process. It's a very lengthy process. So what Tidal does is it takes this empathy first sales method and it applies it to a matchmaking agency where you get to go as a business owner, you get to talk to an actual human being who will then sit and use their actual human brain to figure out who would make a great match for you and what you genuinely need help with, and then set you up on 1 to 2 calls with a certified, vetted partner who is an expert in that thing. And that
Mm-hmm.
partner network for Tidal is women only. So
Mm-hmm.
that whenever a transaction passes through Tidal, a woman gets paid. So
Yes.
it shifts
Love
the
it.
wealth scales one transaction at a time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I thought that teaching women about sales wasn't big enough, even though that was
Mm-hmm.
also a global community. I thought I want to create something that's so good and so scalable and that leverages all of these transactions, all of these deals that are happening anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and also leverages the fact that this is a genuine need. You know, I'm very much about not creating fake needs. I'm very much about
Mm-hmm.
solving the problems that we actually have.
Yeah.
And and using that solution to put more money in the hands of all women everywhere.
Yes, I love it. Female empowerment.
Yes.
I mean, that in and of itself is like doing big shit. Like you are creating global change on a large scale that tips the wealth towards women. This is all, in and of itself big shit. Um,
Yes.
so I want to I want to break down your next big goal of doing big shit, right? It's July. We've got 5.5 months left in the year. So what's your end of year big shit goal?
So I have a big goal for September because we are launching Tidal on International Equal Pay Day,
Mm-hmm.
which is September 18th. I would not have chosen to run the pre-launch of Tidal during my kids' summer holiday unless there was a very
Smart.
specific date I was working towards. And my this is not written down anywhere, and this is not really something that is on like on my SMART goal. But the thing I keep saying is that I want every online business owner to have heard the name Tidal.
That's big shit goal.
Yes. I want everyone who it could be relevant for in the online sphere first to have at least heard the name.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I have a friend, because here's the problem with being a big shit kind of person is that unless you are very good at writing down your goals and quantifying them,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen is you're just going to keep moving the goalpost.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yep.
had a really big problem with this where I would never, ever recognize my own achievements, because by the time I hit the goal that I'd set out to hit a while back, I had already moved that goalpost, 3 big shit levels further down the line,
Yeah.
right? And so I said this to a friend. So I had the idea for Tidal in sort of November, December, and it was like a really eureka moment. So I know it was then. And then I really decided to kind of go for it and, file the sort of trademark application and all of that January, February. And I told a friend of mine that, like, I have this real problem where I move the goalpost. And it makes me miserable because it makes me feel like I've never actually achieved anything.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, and stupid, right? Like, why the fuck would you do that when you're making all these incredible... No, but seriously, when you're having all these insane achievements, and you, the person achieving them, you look at them and you go, meh.
I feel like it's part of this adrenaline rush. It's almost like an addiction to the
yeah.
adrenaline rush that we get of, like, ooh, big shit. And then you're working on it and you're like, this feels so good to work towards this goal. And then you're like, what about this next one? What about instead of 1 million, we do 5 million? And then instead of 5 million, we do 10 million.
Yeah.
And then you're working towards that 10 million without even realizing that you had already moved the goalpost, because you're just like so amped up in this adrenaline rush. It's almost like an addictive thing.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, but
no, I think you're spot on. And I think that we don't want to lose that drive, because that's what makes us capable of doing these insanely big things, right? But also we can very quickly, like an addict, become very depressed if all we're doing is chasing the high and we never stop and are mindful and present about what we've achieved, what we've done. Like, and so my friend said, Synne, you got to write down a SMART goal right now, right? So a SMART goal is...
Oh, this is pulling me back to corporate.
Oh my God, I'm literally going to Google it.
SMART is... Wait.
I know it's measurable, so it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Relevant.
So it's
I was going to say reachable.
Yeah. So it's like a quantifiable expression of your big shit goal, right? Which is why I say that I want every online business owner to have heard the name Tidal is not a SMART goal, because it's not, I can't quantify that, And she said, write it down. You need to figure out what is your goal. Like, what are you actually working towards?
So what'd you come up with?
So I came up with, we're going to launch on September 18th with 24 vetted expert women partners, right? Certified women in the partner network of Tidal. We're going to launch to a wait list of a minimum of 50 pre-launch so women and men who are interested, who've signed up. And we're going to do that without me burning out, and with me having time with my children still, and basically working a 4-day week and not working weekends and not sitting on my computer while the kids are having dinners, and we're going to do it with 100% beta matching satisfaction. So sort of like creating that pre-launch experience for people on the wait list and make sure that we get those right?
Yeah.
And that goal was stated in March, and we hit it at the start of this month.
Yay,
and actually, when I say hit it, I mean like far exceeded it.
Okay. Are you going to move that number now, since you have another 2 months till the event?
Well, the first thing I did was I went, holy shit, I've reached it. And I messaged that same friend who had told me, and I said, what do you do when you hit it that I was like, what is this? What am I supposed to do? I had my goal. I've reached my goal. I have 2.5 months left. What do I do? And she laughed, right? Because she was like, yeah, there you go. Like, this is what tends to happen when you're a high achieving person and you start writing down your big shit stuff.
Yep.
So I am changing it, but I'm not changing it actually. I am creating a new one because I already reached this one. And that's,
Okay.
I think, what's important to kind of distinguish between, am I changing my goal? No, because that's the whole point of a goal, is that's what you want to hit. And if you've hit it, you've reached your goal. And then you
Right.
make a new one. You don't change the
So
existing.
celebrate the first goal that you achieved. Take a moment, celebrate it, set new goal.
Exactly. I think it's
Love it.
so important because if not, we're just going to change our goal until we die.
Yeah.
And we'll die having achieved a shit ton and also in our own minds, nothing.
Yeah.
And
So
that's silly.
yeah, it is. So I want to break down now the anatomy of how to achieve these big shit goals. Can you take us through some of the strategy, the planning, and how your brain is thinking through this structure, this anatomy of it?
100%. I love this. This is my favorite thing to do in the whole world. So,
Yay.
Yay! So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to, like I said, we need to figure out what our problem is, right? Or what our obstacles are, or what our challenges are, you know, and having first iterated where we want to go. You always need a destination. I always say that. If you don't have a destination, a GPS is absolutely fucking pointless, right?
Yep.
So if you don't know where you're going, there's no point. And knowing where you're going, by the way, is actually, I would say, having now worked with, you know, over 100 women who run their own show and help them with all sorts of things to do with strategy and sales and offer development and God knows what, the most important piece of work you're actually going to do is deciding on, deciding on, and committing to your destination. Not to say it can't change, right? It can absolutely change. But the more thought you put into actually deciding on where you're going, the less often you're going to find that you're having to change it because you didn't actually think it through. So in my case, it was very much like, yes, I think this is a genius solution, i.e. the matchmaking, making it easy for people to get the help they need in their businesses, not having to do it on their own, and doing it on top of an empathy-first methodology that is about actually service and support, serving and supporting them, not making money, you know, empathy first, profit second, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And having decided that I want to do this, then the anatomy of it becomes, okay, cool. Now we need to reverse engineer. So now we need to look at, where am I today? We need to define that goal, right? Which you can do with a SMART goal, but you need to quantify it somehow. And that can be, you can think of that as like step 1 out of a 10-step goal, you know? Or I encourage you to think of it as the first of many goals, because then you get to hit many goals, right? Which you should, because God knows women need to be better at celebrating their wins. They are so good at internalizing failure and externalizing success. It blows my freaking mind. Like the amount of women who say to me, I'm so lucky. I've closed every sales call I've had in the last 6 months. And I'm like, do you want to rephrase that? Are you lucky or are you good at what you do?
Yeah.
So in my case, it was sort of like, okay, cool. So how do I create this solution, right? You need to figure out the anatomy of it. Like you said, that's a great sort of term for it. The different components that need to be in place for this solution to run. You need to look at the functions that you're going to put energy into. I talk a lot about energy maths and time maths, and being very, very, very mindful of the fact that we only have so much momentum building energy at our disposal.
Especially as a mom.
Especially as especially as parents, we have
Yeah.
very limited time and we have very limited energy kind of reserves or energy
Yeah.
availability. And so we want to be very, very mindful of where we place that energy, right? Because if I'm trying, let's say I have 60% available energy to do my job, and I'm trying to place that 6% across 10 different focus areas, that's only going to be 6% momentum building energy across each. And I'm not actually going to be able to build any momentum. It's like a rocket launching, right? Like you can't, it's not going to be enough power. You need to choose so that maybe
Yeah.
you get 3 focus areas of 20% instead, right? And then you can start building momentum. And so in my case, that was like, okay, so what am I going to focus on for, the machinery was quote unquote easy, although it's very time consuming, which is obviously recruiting the partners and building the certification program. And how am I going to check that they are actually committing to these standards? How do I check that they're good at what they do? But the main thing when you're doing something like Tidal, which is actually a category defining business, like it doesn't exist
Mm-hmm.
yet, and no one knows what Tidal is yet, the biggest piece of work is going to be brand awareness and brand trust, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there are a gazillion ways I could do that. I could do a PR campaign. I could do one-to-one outreach. I could set up a TikTok account. I could do
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. Like there are so many ways. And it's very tempting when we're doing big shit to think, oh, I have to do all of it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to not work out and I'm just going to not sleep and I'm just going to not take care of myself and
Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of die because I have to do all of it. And remember, my SMART goal was also to not burn out because I've actually been
Mm-hmm.
hospitalized with burnout in the past. And so for me, that's a very important piece. And I know what burnout is. I know what it feels like. I know how it just knocks you out for months, right?
Yeah.
It's like an injury in
Mm-hmm.
working out. So then it was very much about, okay, so what am I going to pick, right? Like, what am I going to pick to focus on? And then you kind of need to accept that some of that is going to work, some of it is not going to work, some of it is going to take longer than you want it to take. Pretty much everything is going to take longer than you want it to take,
Yep.
like in the whole
Yeah.
entire world. When you like to No, but you know what I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
when we're fast moving and we like things to happen and we're big picture thinkers, so we love to look at like that zoom, like, oh my God, the potential and all of those
Yeah.
things. So the world moves very slowly when your brain is like that, right?
Yes, it is definitely something that frustrates me almost daily where I see the end zone. I see where I want to be in next year, 5 years, 10 years. But or maybe that 10 years could happen in 2 years and I'm like, how do I get it to be in 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
but still 2 years feels like an enormous amount of time when I'm trying to focus on the daily work that has to get there and I'm like, oh, I just wanted to move fast. So yeah, anyways, I get it.
No, yeah, 100%. And it is like that. It is that incredibly annoying fact that slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to go slow and steady. We want to go fucking fast, right? Like we want to
Yeah.
sprint.
And that's part of the issue I think that a lot of maybe entrepreneurs have in the beginning is that it's slow and steady, even though you want to move fast, but it's also the consistency that you can't just give up because it's
Yes.
taken 6 months and you still see nothing. You still don't have a sale or you still don't have a client or whatever. And you're trying to grow organically and you're still at like 1,000 followers instead of 10,000 because it takes time. And so much of this is you're just probably like that far away, like really close to achieving it. You just given up too soon.
Yes. 100%. And also I do want to point out that my feeling, having now been doing my own show for, a freaking nearly decade and a half, which makes me feel very old, but also I feel like I can say I'm a bit of a veteran, right? Like I have actually seen
Mm-hmm.
these different zeitgeists of online
Mm-hmm.
business ownership kind of develop and unfold and evolve. And what I will say is that I feel we have an incredibly, incredibly skewed time perspective right now.
Hmm.
And, you know, it's because of our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and
Right.
the internet makes everything okay. Screaming child. And
Is that
the
your child or
no,
was
no,
that a
no, no,
neighbor?
no, no, someone else. I mean,
Okay.
no.
That was loud then.
Well, there's a playground out here, so you know I have the
Okay.
yeah. No, and it's yeah, so it's having the entire world accessible 24/7 and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And also we this happened a little while ago, but we've had this huge resurgence of pyramid schemes in
Mm-hmm.
the clothes of the sales bros and the boss babes and the Stephen Bartletts and the hustle culture and the and it is very and when I say pyramid scheme, what I mean is I mean people who made something happen very fast. Maybe they
Mm-hmm.
grew really quick on Instagram, or they grew really fast on LinkedIn, or whatever, right? They hit a sales target very quickly, and they oversimplify the reality of that story,
Oh, yes. I hate
which
this.
almost always has some element of luck to it.
Mm-hmm.
They can be very skilled and they can have done very well, but there is always, firstly, there's always strategy and hard work behind it, and a long timeline that they love to not talk about up
Yeah.
to that point where they had their overnight success. And overnight successes like that are there's almost always an element of luck. Like you cannot
Mm-hmm.
orchestrate it in that way.
Yeah.
And then they take that, they brush over all of that, they oversimplify all of that, and then they sell that as an achievable reality to everyone else, and that is their
Mm-hmm.
business model, right?
Yeah. I could get so enraged talking about this because I get very frustrated because I'll scroll through on social media and it'll be like, how to hit 20K months in 2 weeks, or how to hit 300,000 new followers in 3 months. And it's like, none of this is realistic. You're not going to make $20,000 per month starting out in 2 weeks' time. And it's just, and then it makes it very difficult when it's taking you months of posting every day because you think that's the solution when it's actually so much deeper than that and it's going to take longer. And you're like, well, I'm failing because so and so made $20,000 months and apparently it's possible, but I can't do it. So I'm failing and I'm going to quit and give up. It's
Correct.
a pet peeve of mine.
It's a pet peeve of mine too. It's a huge part of the reason I developed my sales methodology. It's a huge part of the reason that Tidal exists is also to make sure that people are not scammed. I have
Yeah.
horrible sales stories. I myself have a story where I almost spent every single cent I had left on a credit card to get a 90-minute call with this boss babe person because I was so desperate at the time and I so believed, because they are masters of manipulative communications and
Mm-hmm.
marketing, right?
Yeah.
And and really, like, the only thing I'm saying with that is that if you are new, you think that that's the norm. Like, you think that that's
Mm-hmm.
achievable because they're the loudest accounts and they're the biggest accounts and
Right.
they're the accounts that get the most, whatever, because our brains want things to be easy. So if someone tells
Mm-hmm.
us, no, I'm telling you, I can make sure that you will start making 20K in 2 weeks. I just need $3,000 from you first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your brain
Yeah.
really wants to believe that. Like, and of course that's more attractive than, hi, I'm Synne. I'm going to teach you how to sell and like build a business for life. It's going to take 6 to 18 months to get to sort
Yeah.
of 10 to 20K.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem
I'm
with
like, I
social
know what
media.
I'd buy, and it's not for me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go back to something that I think is not talked about enough in this. When we talk about doing big shit, a lot of this comes with discomfort and growth, right? Because in order to do big, scary shit, it's kind of scary sometimes, right? The goals that are the big shit goals should be a little bit scary and make you question, how do I do that?
Mm-hmm.
And even more, who do I have to become, or what personal development needs to happen so that I can become that person who can hold that big goal? Right? What do I need to develop in myself, whether it's for money or skills that I actually have to build? So and I wonder how much of this is maybe new entrepreneurship versus you've been doing it for a decade and a half. So I'd love to know what personal growth or discomfort you've had to sit in so that you can hit these big shit goals.
Yes. And that's spot on, by the way. Big shit goals, big things. They're not big if they're not scary. Like if you don't
Mm-hmm.
sit in the discomfort. And I actually, to be honest, like in the beginning when I really started going all in and I had created my execution plan with my 237 to do tasks between January and launch, and all
Mm-hmm.
broken up into different categories. And it was very much this thing of on a daily basis jumping into the deep end of discomfort
Mm-hmm.
and doing all these things that I'd never done before, right? So the biggest, I think, honestly, the biggest thing that you can do is that realization. It is accepting and embracing the fact that if it feels scary and it feels uncomfortable, but it feels aligned, like it doesn't feel wrong, it just
Right.
feels scary and uncomfortable,
That's a good thing.
that's a good thing. Now, intuition and gut feeling, that's another thing. You need to be able
Mm-hmm.
to kind of check in on those simultaneously, right? So that you can you can feel the fear and do it anyway. But you can also feel when something isn't right.
Yeah.
So for me, specifically with Tidal, I have had to, on a daily basis, embrace everything you just said, right? That this is big, it is scary. I identified after a while that I kept coming up on this block, like this thing where I had massive amounts of self-doubt, massive amounts of sort of feelings of imposter syndrome, essentially the feeling that I couldn't do it, right? Me, Synne,
Mm.
couldn't do it. And so what I did was I went and I did an RTT session, rapid transformation therapy, because I knew what the
Oh.
block was, I knew what the feeling was, I knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And, I like to move fast. So as much
Yeah.
as I know that traditional therapy is amazing for a lot of people, I'm like, I know what my block is. I want it removed. Can we please go into my subconscious and reprogram it? Thank you.
Huh.
So that, so
I've
that,
never heard of this.
oh, it's brilliant. It's so cool. It's a combination of cognitive behavioral therapy, hypnosis, so hypnotherapy, and
Uh-huh.
NLP, so neuro linguistic programming. So it's
Oh.
those three.
Uh-huh.
And I happen to have a Tidal partner who is an RTT therapist, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
said, hey, I want to do this. This is the block. This is the thing. And so the cool thing about it is that when you do have that one specific block, you have a 90-minute to 2-hour session,
Mm-hmm.
and then you listen to an audio for a couple of weeks, and then you actually have removed that block. Like it's not there
Oh,
anymore. It's
wow.
gone. So
Mm-hmm.
I did that. So that was like a very specific personal self-development thing that I did. And it's removed the fear or that kind of constant worry that I'm not the right person to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still aware that it is a hugely ambitious project.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big project, also just in terms of workload. My husband is having to like
Yeah.
keep reminding me that like this is something that typically maybe 4 founders would do together. And they wouldn't all have small kids who are on summer holiday either.
Right.
And that's how I'm doing it. So it's still showing up every day, but and feeling the fear. And I guess now it's less fear and more
Mm-hmm.
acceptance of the fact that there are a gazillion things out of my control.
Mm.
So the only thing I can do is captain my ship and use
Right.
my knowledge and my experience to do that to the best of my ability. And then sometimes you're gonna hit some really fucking shitty waters,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's fine. Then you just fix your ship and you keep going.
You make it sound so easy. Just fix your ship and keep
Yeah.
going.
No, but just like, no, but this is why it comes back to that thing of like,
Yeah.
if you know what the problem is,
Mm-hmm.
if you can identify, and this is such a strong philosophy of mine. It's in business, it's in life, it's in, being marriage, it's in
Mm-hmm.
parenting. If you can identify what the challenge is, what the problem is, what the gnawing sensation is, if you can figure out what it is, then you can tackle it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So in the analogy of a ship, if you can figure out that, well, the boat isn't moving because the sail's kind of broken, cool, then will you fix the sail?
Yep.
Or my crew's screwing me and chilling all day. Okay, cool. Well, then you fix that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like it's just that thing of identifying what the problem is. And I think a lot of people, I know that I'm probably a bit of an exception in that I've never had problems with taking action.
Yeah.
I do not find taking action hard. In fact, I crave taking action. I have a much harder
Same.
time sitting still than taking action.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like
Yeah.
to break things down into more easily actionable chunks so I can do, I could do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and it gets everything still moving forwards
Yeah.
instead of having like, oh, here's what all that I have to fix. No, I could do a little bit here, a little bit here, and
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to move it forwards.
And that's the only way to do it. By the way, anyone listening, anyone watching, if you want to do big shit, you have to break it down into small tasks, because if not,
Yeah.
you're just going to freak out about the enormity of it.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to do anything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I love this. Okay, if anyone is listening, well, to all the people listening, what can,
To no one listening or
to
watching.
nobody and everybody, to the whole world and to nobody, what can we do to help you achieve your big shit goal? Like, do you have an ask? Is there something you're looking for? Or like, how can people help?
That is such a lovely question. So I'm currently in the process of creating a Tidal ambassador kit,
Hmm.
because I'm finding more and more that people love the project, love the mission. Some people aren't going to be a great fit as clients yet. You know, they don't have any
Mm-hmm.
needs right now. Some people aren't going to be a good fit as partners, but there are quite a few people who want to help. So if you want to help spread the word, then spreading the word about Tidal is the best help we can get right now. If you're
Mm-hmm.
interested specifically in becoming a Tidal ambassador, I would love for you to kind of hit me up on LinkedIn, where my name is Synne Linden.
So same way it's spelled here. Good.
And I'm
Cute.
the only person on there with that name, so it's easy to find me. Give us a follow on LinkedIn. We're really working to hit 150 followers, because then we can start streaming our lives from the company page instead of
Hmm.
my personal page.
Yay.
And if anyone wants to help sponsor the launch party or come to the launch party, but truly the number one ask I have now is to spread the word that there is now a solution to this awful feeling of needing help in your business and not knowing where to start.
Mm-hmm. And simultaneously getting more hands in the women and getting more money in the hands of women. What was I going to say? Getting more hands in the money of women.
Getting
That's
more
like
hands in
gonna.
the money of women, I mean, that's fine too, right? More money for everyone if there's more hands in the money of women. So,
Yes.
and we do have a philanthropy fund in Tidal as well, where 2% of every deal goes to organizations that are specifically focused on girls and women's financial and entrepreneurial literacy worldwide.
Amazing.
So if you want to help us, spread the word. Tell everyone you know who's ever told you they've had a bad investment or a shit experience, or they need help, but they're dreading posting about it on LinkedIn because they know they're going to get 8,500 unsolicited pitch slaps in the DMs.
Yes.
Come hit us up, because that's literally what we solve, and we solve it while shifting the wealth scales. in the
I
right
love it.
direction. Yeah.
Yay. All right. And I'll put all the links to your website and your LinkedIn in the description below. So if you're listening to this, you can just find that in the description. But thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about big shit and doing big shit. And I'm so excited to see all that you accomplish and where this goes, and see
Yeah.
you have a global takeover of women and wealth and changing the landscape for what women can do.
Hell
I love it.
yes. Thank you for
Do big
having
shit.
me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.